Some things are better off as fantasies. Some fantasies should remain fantasies. It's not all of your fantasy that you should explore. Some things should be left as fantasies.
Hi, and welcome to With Progress Oberico channel. Yeah, that's my name. On this episode, I will be sharing some stories and examples while we explore fantasies and what to do with them, especially when you are in a committed relationship. So sit tight.
So I was listening to this podcast recently, and there was this young lady who sent in a dilemma saying that she's married, she has a blissful marriage, an amazing husband, he's a good father and a great husband to her herself, but she suddenly ran into one of her ex who happens to be single now. And suddenly she started to fantasize about the time she was with this ex. She misses the relationship they had. The sex was great, that her husband is not even as good as that guy, blah, blah, blah. And I said, pause. There's also the story of another young man. He had an amazing wife. They had 2 kids together, and everything is going smoothly until he met this co-worker who recently joined their organization. And since then, he just could not stop thinking about her, and he's having a double mind about his relationship with his wife, and he really desires this girl. He wants to be with her. Now, that leads me to why I am making this video. Some things are better off as fantasies. Some fantasies should remain fantasies. It's not all of your fantasy that you should explore. Some things should be left as fantasies. And that's the thing. That's where people get things mixed up, because you want to try everything that you think about. That place that you feel like you want to go to, you want to be there. Oh, that person that you've been thinking about, this fine, beautiful, attractive lady that you have been fantasizing about having as your girlfriend, or this man that you think will make a good husband, a good partner. You've been fantasizing about them, and now you want to move from fantasy to reality. Some people are better off as fantasies than they are in real life. That's why you see that someone you've been crushing on for the longest time, the moment they accept to be your girlfriend or to be your boyfriend, you start looking at them funny. Or a friend, this very good friend of yours, suddenly you feel like, oh, you guys will be good together as boyfriend and girlfriend, or as husband and wife, and then you take the relationship a notch higher into a romantic level, and then you start to realize that it's not actually as it was in my head when I was fantasizing about this, when I was thinking about this. And that's because some things are better off as fantasy than they are, or than they would be in real life. So it's not all of your fantasies that you should explore. It's not everything you think about that you should jump on. It's not every place you fantasize would be a good idea that you should go to. It's not every idea that sounds good in your brain that will be actually good in real life. Some things should exist in your brain alone until they no longer do. Now, you feel like because you have met that ex, they will be better than the husband that you have. Because you've met this amazing co-worker at work, they will be better than the girlfriend or the wife that you have built a life with for ages. The thing is, you knew a version of that person. For the woman who was speaking about her ex, she knew a version of that person. She knew a version of that person. And I think they also said this in the podcast as well. She knew a version of that person. Now, the version of that guy that she's fantasizing about may not be the version of the guy now. Maybe they dated when they were teenagers or in their 20s. Now the guy is in his 30s, and the woman is also in her 30s. Now, the guy is no longer 19 or 20. The person you are fantasizing about now is that his version, his 20-year-old self. But he's no longer that person. Now, imagine that you jeopardize your current blissful marriage just to experience a fantasy that may turn out not to be it. Imagine that you leave your beautiful relationship with this woman because of a fleeting feeling you have for a coworker that may not even last. So I feel like we tend to be obsessed with chasing the 1% that we think we don't have, because most times we actually have everything, but because you that thing you have in your head that you haven't actually tried, that 1%, You think you want that, and then you go for it only to realize that you have actually ruined what you have. And I think this is quite common with a lot of men. Some men don't have the idea of self discipline or not exploring certain fantasies that they have, because they believe that as a man, I'm allowed to chase multiple women even after I am married. So you will see a married man who sees a beautiful young lady, but the idea of I am married doesn't really come to him. His first reaction is wanting to go after that young lady because he believes that he can. There's no idea of let this be a fantasy and let me just move on with my life. For some men, I know it is also the same with some women as well. It's not everything that you think about, it's not everything that comes to your mind that you should explore. Don't put yourself in a situation where certain fantasies that you have will become reality, especially the negative ones. Because for me, I think that self discipline is being able to resist yourself from falling for every fantasy or desire that you have. That is self discipline. The fact that you can doesn't mean that you should. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and share this video.